Now you're going to get muted. It's going to do the countdown, and I'm going to be right back with you. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Mayor of Rock and Roll and Friends. It's live from New Jersey and the New York connection. We have Sal Serchia, we have Francine Cernera, and me, Doc G. Welcome, Sal, and who's your guest tonight?
Tonight, we have a great show, baby. We got the one and only Apache Ramos. And
Woo!
Apache Ramos is an actor, also in the music business for years, and A&R man for record companies, and he's just done so many things. I mean, he's in movies. But the great thing about Apache is that in the Warriors, I mean, I told Apache how many times I told you I'd give up every movie I did just to have that part you had in the Warriors because it's so memorable. Everybody in the world knows Apache just from saying, we ain't got one.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, he said a few other things, but that line stands out. You go to any Warriors fan and say, we ain't got one. They'll know exactly what you're talking about. They'll say, Apache Ramos from the Orphans, baby. Let's have a big hand for my friend, Apache Ramos.
Welcome.
Yeah, baby. There
Welcome,
he is on the
Apache.
screen. All right, Apache, how you doing, brother?
Could you hear us?
You got to unmute your mic.
Oh, you got to unmute your mic. He's muted?
He's muted. I can't unmute him.
Oh, no. Apache, if you could hear us, I think you're muted on your phone.
Yeah, you got to unmute your mic, Apache.
Uh-oh.
Unmute your mic.
Can you hear us?
I don't think he can hear us to unmute us.
Oh, man.
Somebody's going to have to text him.
Oh,
Text.
oh my goodness. Hold on.
Sal, text
I
him
guess
and
I'm
tell
going
him
to have to
he's
text
muted.
him. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to have to come out and come back in.
Everybody's going upside down.
This is a shit show.
I'm lost.
God.
I don't think he just lost him. He got off too now. Uh-oh.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus. Oh God. Anyway, these are his pictures. This is what Apache.
Yeah, no, the Warriors was it was iconic. It was an iconic movie. I loved it. I remember it. I watched it because I'm from Brooklyn and Coney Island was like the place to go from when I was a baby growing up. So when I watched that movie, the whole thing was just amazing. Oh, he's back.
I'm back. I'm back.
He's back. All right. And then we got to wait for Sal to come
now
back.
we miss Sal. Where's Sal?
Sal will be right back. He's got to leave and come back.
Okay.
How many baby boomers does it take?
Hey, it's that complicated.
Oh, I was just telling Gene while we were all in the craziness that Coney Island was the place for me to be when I was a baby, growing up in Brooklyn. So when I saw that movie, I watched it. The whole thing just brought back so many memories, you know, and you know, that was like a real thing. The gangs and everything. It was just so real.
To me, because I'm from the hood. I'm from the Bronx. I was born in Brooklyn, raised in the Bronx, and that's why my blood type is B positive. But when I got that part, which is another story, but when I was on set, me and the late great Paul Greco, may he rest in peace, we knew that we had to be the orphans and we were kind of lame and the Warriors were so tough and bad. And I grew up in the Bronx, you know?
Right.
So Walter Hill, thank God, he changed my life, that guy. But when he cast me, but when we waited to see them, he wouldn't let us, Paul and I, see them and the rest of the orphans. And then all of a sudden, we see the Warriors, and I start laughing because they didn't look tough to me at all.
Yeah,
you know, they have the flowing blonde hair, Michael Beck, who was really the best. What a great man he is. And Fox, who I just saw your interview. You guys did a great job. Ours is going to be a lot shorter. but
No,
we just didn't believe it. And Walter, he was so great. He would water the set, and
Hey, Juan. Oh, we just lost his voice. Oh, God. Sal, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we lost Apache again.
Apache now. His voice is gone.
Oh my goodness.
He's talking.
And when
you got to text him again and tell him we can't hear him.
Okay.
He's going and going too, man.
I can't hear one word he's saying.
Oh.
And he can't hear me.
No.
Oh, my God.
He's reading it now.
Oh, my God. Yeah, I know. Juan, we're trying to make this show good.
He muted himself again. He's muting his mic too much. I don't know what's going on.
And he doesn't know how to unmute.
Oh. Yeah. No, we're missing out all the good stuff.
Fran, this is going to be a quick, short show tonight. I'm serious.
I know. Well, what's happening is, the thing is, he's laughing because he knows he did it again. Those technical difficulties, I love those. They are funny.
Juan, we're trying. Juan, thank you. Hang in there. We'll try to get the.
It's like we should be on the bloopers. You remember that show, the bloopers?
Oh yeah.
That would be us tonight and every other night that we
and it's all because of the software, not me.
Yeah, no. It's the software. I know. And Wi-Fi and all that great stuff, Now everybody's gone.
It's just you and I right now.
All right. Well, yeah, no, The Warriors was really, like I was saying before, an iconic movie. It was something that I think everybody watched that movie. I think everybody saw that movie. No matter who I talked to, saw The Warriors one way or another.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, Sal, baby, where is he?
Where is he? Disappeared?
Yeah.
He's gone.
Oh, my God.
Yep.
Here he is again.
Here he is. Here we go. You guys.
I'm not touching nothing. Look.
Don't touch nothing.
Welcome back.
Hey, listen to me. This is what I'm going to do when you get muted again. Look at me. When you get muted again, I'm going to go like this. That means check your microphone. I'll give you the sign, okay? So go ahead. You can go back.
I think he's talking. We lost him again.
Look.
How does he keep getting muted?
Well, now he knows my sign now.
Yeah, but how does he keep getting muted?
I don't know.
It's probably something on his phone, I bet, muting him. As he get notifications, it'll mute him. Oh, boy. We got to get. Hey, Joe, you're in my spot. Hi, y'all, he says.
He's looking at my finger, so he knows he's muted. He's trying.
But why is he keep? My thing is, why does he keep getting muted?
I don't know. And he said he's not touching anything. Something's going on with his phone.
That's why I said when he gets a notification, it might mute him.
Yeah.
He's going to get so aggravated.
I'm not that aggravated.
Okay. Well, continue what you were saying because we didn't hear anything.
Well, I started out as a child.
We're going to all end up like old people.
But ask me a question. Go ahead.
All right.
Go
ahead, Sal.
Who wants it? Somebody's asking the question on the screen. Who's that?
When you mess with an orphan, they're saying, see what happens when you mess with the orphans.
Exactly.
I know.
You see what happens?
So anyway, let's see. So this whole thing, when you were on set, you said you met them and that's where we muted ourselves. You said when you met them.
Yeah.
When I met them, I it was just a gig. And I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't think this movie was going to do anything. I was just excited to be in the movie. On my way there, the guy that was driving me ran into a bodega. And next thing I know, there was about 15 people chasing him. So I almost didn't make it on set. But oh, wow. It's really amazing how I even got involved with the Warriors. I had an agent at the time. Thank God, when I came out of college, Oh, I can go further back, but when I came to New York, I wasn't getting any parts. And I went to college at Hampshire College in Massachusetts, and I had a great professor who knew that I never saw a play and got me to be an apprentice in California in Napa Valley. So that's how that whole thing started. But I wasn't getting any parts because I wasn't your typical Puerto Rican guy with the accent, and they would send me for commercials, and I wouldn't get them. And I was getting really frustrated. I was acting in some plays for the Nation of Islam with the play about Attica, which was the most violent play I was ever in. And I was doing stuff like that, but I had a good job at Bloomingdale's. And I used to hang out at the Subway Inn across the street, which they just closed. But so anyways, I was dating Treat Williams' sister at the time. And Treat Williams, may he rest in peace, such a great guy to me. Him and his girlfriend at the time, Jamie Sells, she was a Broadway actress. When I first met Treat, he was playing Danny Zuko on Broadway. And he was really great for me. And he helped me. Him and Jamie got me an agent, and I wasn't doing nothing. And finally, they sent me for this thing for the Warriors. At this point, I didn't care anymore. I had a black T-shirt with silver letters that said Bronx. I had the afro of life. I had shorts. I had my blue Pumas. I had my resume. I had my 8x10 and a bottle of rum. And I went to Paramount Pictures on 59th Street, I think it was at the time. And I was sitting there, and it was like the conclave in the beginning of the movie. All these dudes, So I really didn't care. I'm sipping my rum in the side, and this white guy sits next to me. We start chopping it up, talking shit, blah, blah, blah. And then he disappears. So finally, they call my name. I go there. And as soon as I walked in, that white guy was Walter Hill that was sitting next to me. And was talking to me, and he hired me on the spot. I didn't say a line. I didn't say anything. He said, Apache, you're so down to earth. I got this small part. Would you take it? I said, well, I take it. Of course I take it. So I took it, and it's changed my life in ways I don't, that I can't even tell you. I remember Sal. I met Sal the first time I ever did signing autographs thing in 1996, I think it was. And Dorsey and David Harris, my brothers, they were making fun of me because I had no idea what I was doing. And I had like copies of my face as an orphan, and people were paying money for me to sign those things. So they were making fun of me, and because it was Mercy, it was Debbie V, who called me up out of nowhere and says, Apache, would you like to do this thing? And I said, sure. So then I got hip to the game, and that's when I met Sal. And Sal said, and Sal's background was incredible. And he was in Oz. And that show, forget about it. That show was even too violent for me. And Sal says to me, Apache, I would give it all up to have been in the Warriors. And that's when I started getting an idea of how it was,
Yeah.
And after I had left the record business, I had to get a real job because I had a daughter. So I realized I had a degree. So since I grew up on public assistance, I started working for the city because I knew I had to get a real job. I had just finished road managing the Fat Boys.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
I took the Fat Boys 50 cities in like 30 days. It was an incredible tour. I also was in the beginning of New Edition, who are now in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Oh, yeah.
Blows my mind.
Yeah.
I was part of Streetwise Records. So after I did the Warriors, I'm working in Bloomingdale's. And one of my roommates in college, the great Arthur Baker, started a record. He says, Apache, he was always DJing at college and stuff and in Boston. And he says, Apache, you want to get in the record business? I was like, yeah, sure. And the next thing I know, I'm picking and packing records in the warehouses in Long Island City and shipping them out to retail stores. Not quite what I wanted to do. But what was good about it was that I was running the 45 department, and I got to learn my labels. And then because I work for record distributors, I get invited to parties. And then with my gift to gab, I wound up being a national salesman. I was so good, I sold 8 tracks down south to funeral homes. I
Oh
mean, I used to
wow.
do shit like
Maybe you
that.
can be my salesman. I need a
Yeah, really.
salesman.
So
Well, you were
I
in the
worked
record
for
business, all right. Wow.
Cardinal Records, record distributors, and Wind record distributors. And then
Nice.
Arthur came up with the record label Streetwise Records. And him and Maurice Starr out of Boston found these kids out of the projects in Boston. And they were like 12, 13 years old. And we put out this record called Candy Girl. Fucking blew up. It just blew up. I was just happened to be in the right spot at the right time. And it was like being with the Beatles or something because little black teenage girls didn't have somebody. Knew Jackson 5 was already too old. And you know, the Spanish kids had Menudo, and here comes New Edition. And it just blew up, Mr. Telephone Man and the whole bit. And
Yeah.
Streetwise Records was it was back in the day when independent record labels ruled, when we would find acts and then the major labels would steal them from us. You know, that kind of stuff. They would go to major labels, you know, make more money. But we had New Edition. We had the group Freeze from England that had that big record, AEIOU. And
Oh yeah,
sometimes
I
why?
remember that.
That was a huge
Yeah,
record. We
I
had
remember that.
Lolita. We had Lolita Holloway, Crash Goes Love. Um, I signed the guy. I used to live on 183rd Street in Grand Concourse in the Bronx. And there was this guy that was about 6'5", would hand me demo tapes. I lived on the first floor. And he was tall enough to have me demo tapes. His name was Colonel Abrams, and he became,
That's
I got him signed to Streetwise, and he was like the king of house music. And I
wow.
wound up with Colonel Lolita Holloway. We distributed Eartha Kitt. I spent my birthday's Christmas Eve. And by this time, oh, we were hot shit, you know,
Wow.
Streetwise Records, blah, blah, blah. So my birthday's Christmas Eve, and who walks in the door? I had champagne on my desk, you know, and that kind of stuff. Eartha Kitt, because we were
Oh,
distributing her record. And back in those days, we didn't have the cell phones. And I don't have one picture of me and Eartha, but she
oh,
drank champagne.
Oh,
She said to me, I was starstruck. I was like, oh my God, Eartha Kitt, Miss Kitt this, Miss Kitt that. And she had enough of me. And she said, if you call me Miss Kitt one more time, I'm going to go upside your head. My name is Eartha, and I'm from South Carolina, and you're very cute. Let's drink some of that. I think it was
oh.
Negro champagne. So, and then she took me on tour with her for a few gigs. But so it was a magical time. You know, you had to get your records played. You had to go to the retail stores to make sure they had the records. You had to go to the radio stations every Wednesday and Thursday to get them to play the records. And in order for them to get to play the records, you had to make sure the DJs were playing them in the club. So it was a very, very exciting time. And we were the hottest records with us, Tommy Boy, Emergency Records. You know, we were just breaking out these acts and stuff. So I had my Streetwise jacket. I never had to pay for anything. I was New York City breakdance judge with Africa Bambaataa at the Ritz, the old Ritz. I think the old Ritz used to be the old, the one where I saw Santana in 68, 69. Fillmore East. I think the
Fillmore
old Ritz
East.
used to be the
Wow.
Fillmore East. And then it became something else. But anyways,
Going back.
so because I was with Streetwise, I was a national breakdance judge, just exciting times. And then I go to work and the label is closed.
Oh boy.
Oh,
The
Oh boy.
label is closed. The
oh.
mob took over the label, and it was like, oh shit. But I had did such a good job with Streetwise Records with Arthur Baker, who created such a big sounds back. And when they celebrated the 50 years of hip hop, they should have definitely included Bambaataa and the music from those times. But that's another story. Anyways, I did such a good job with New Edition. You know, they had new management, and that management was by Bill Dern, Rick Smith, and my good friend Stephen Machat. And Stephen Machat and his father, oh, I forgot his father's name. Oh my God, starts with M. Maury, I think. Their record, I mean, they were a law firm, and they had like Genesis. I wrote it down. They had Genesis and forget about it. You name it, they had there. And so when I went with with the new management of AMI Productions, I took Colonel Abrams with me, and they had signed a group from Flint, Michigan called Ready for the World. And Ready for the World, we got a #1 hit pop record with Oh Sheila. Oh, oh Sheila. And everybody thought it was Prince.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody thought it was Prince. But anyways, we made #1 pop record, and we had John Waite from the Babies. John Waite was there. Great guy. I just saw him the other day on Channel 5, but I had so much fun with John Waite back in the days. We had another heavy metal band called Sabotage, which they were just maniacs, those guys. And I was responsible for New Edition, Ready for the World, and Colonel Abrams. And then Bobby decided to leave New Edition. And so I went with Bobby, and he had his first album, King of Stage. And then eventually that, ran its course. And then that's where I got hired to be the Fat Boys road manager. And it was like being with the Three Stooges. It was the only time I was the slim guy on tour. And they were such nice guys. There's only one left, Cool Roski, who's on my Orphan Nation page, which I'll talk about later. But it just was nonstop. And I knew that my 10 years in the record business, I had gained a wife from the record business. My ex-wife used to be a publicist for Sugar Hill Records, Grandmaster Flash, and the Sugar Hill Gang. And I had New Edition, and, so we had a really fun little thing going there at the time. But where am I? So then, all right, so AMI Productions, which I'm still close with Stephen Machad, who has a band out of Cuba called Jesus Aguaje Ramos and his Buena Vista Orchestra. I just saw them last fall in Town Hall. But when I was with Stephen Machad, I met, this is another story. My daughter calls me the Puerto Rican Forrest Gump. I met, what's his name? I thought he was the guy from Star Trek, Leonard Cohen. So you heard of him, right? Leonard Cohen?
Sure.
Oh, so we're sitting at 1501 Broadway because that's where the office was. And I'm sitting there and I'm thinking that this guy looks like Spock. I thought he was Spock. And then I found out who he was. And we started talking and we hit it off. And he invited me to his show. And it was really good backstage with him. But, some of the people I've met because of the record business. But then because I had gotten married and had a daughter, after the tour of the Fat Boys, which I did spend the night. I wanted to go see Elvis's place when I was down there at Memphis. But the night of the show, I don't know. I always have a guardian angel. We got shot. The bus got shot up. And I spent the night at Elvis Presley Memorial Hospital.
Oh, my God.
With my driver, who I don't know how the bullet missed me, because part of my job as road manager, because the Fat Boys, I would enter the venue first to make sure who was security, make sure everything's cool and not an embarrassing thing. So, Doug, when you're doing 50 cities in a month, you have two drivers, right? One at night and one during the day.
Yeah,
so Doug, he was like a Hell's Angel type of guy. He was a really greasy guy, and he was the captain of the bus. And the other bus driver, he looked like Ric Flair. He was a kick-ass guitar player, but he looked just like Ric Flair. And him and I would spend many nights talking, because you do a lot of talking. And the Fat Boys would sleep in the back. But Buff Love was so big, may he rest in peace. What a good guy he was. The original human beatbox. He couldn't sleep laying down. So he was my size, like 5'6", 5'7". And he couldn't sleep laying down. So he had to sitting up in the back of the bus in a barber's chair with the windows open. But he was so powerful on the mic. Oh, my God. But let me see. So we had all that. And then at the end of the tour, I wound up in New Orleans, and which became a deputy sheriff in New Orleans. This is a story I don't know I can tell. But that's another story. I was a deputy sheriff for a day. let's say, okay, back in those days, I didn't have ID, right? But I had my tattoo, which is pretty famous in the Warriors. It's the only flag that appears in the movie is my Puerto Rican tat. And it says Apache. It was done with needle and thread back in the early 70s, like 72. But so I had an Eat the Rich T-shirt with skull and crossbones on it, cut off at the sleeve. I had no ID, and I was trying to get on the plane, and I had things I wasn't supposed to have. Let's say that, right?
Oh gosh.
So I get on the plane, and I showed them my tattoo, and because I was with these bands, they gave me. It was before 9/11. Things weren't as tight back then, so they let me on the plane. So as I'm on the plane going to New Orleans, right before we land, they go, "Will Apache Ramos please identify himself?" Right before we land, I go, "Oh, fuck, I'm busted. This is it, right?
No.
This is it, So
the real Apache, please stand up.
Well, the real Apache, please stand up. So when I get off the plane, there's all these police there. And I'm like, oh my God, what a fucked up place to be locked up, right? New Orleans.
Oh my God.
And they go, Apache Ramos, yay! You are now a deputy sheriff. And because I had brought the group, I had helped organize events for the groups there, they made me a deputy sheriff for the day, and I had a police escort to the hotel.
Oh my gosh. You thought
Talk
you were
about
going to be
needing
locked up,
toilet
right?
paper.
Now, the whole music, Apache, the whole music, in what era was like, when did you start? 85 till 90s? What was the whole era of the music?
My era in the record business was like 82 to 90.
Oh,
because
so I was in music.
In 1990, I had to get a real job because I had a daughter. And, in the record business, you're only as good as your last thing. And I was living in Washington Heights, and it was during the crack era.
Oh,
I always tell my daughter, you were born in the year crack, 1985. But I was living in Washington Heights, and I had been going on tour. And my wife at the time says, I'm not going to raise this girl by myself. And I definitely didn't want that to happen because I didn't have a dad. So I was all hands on deck being a dad. So I said, oh, shit, I have a degree I forgot about from Hampshire College. So I grew up on welfare. So I started working in public assistance as a caseworker for homeless families in the South Bronx. But then they had a special unit called Division of Aid Services. Now, because I was getting all my street records and dance records played at the gay clubs, I was familiar with the virus back then, so I wasn't afraid of it. And so I volunteered to be in that unit, and so that's another story. But I had a lot of co-workers, a Division of Aid Services. I worked on 30th and 8th Avenue, and my area was Hell's Kitchen. So all my clients had full-blown AIDS. And at that time, people were dying very, very hard.
Yeah.
So, and since I wasn't afraid of the virus, I volunteered for that unit because I felt I should be there because of my lifestyle I had led in the past. If anybody was supposed to get that, it was supposed to be me. So I felt committed to do this. And so I wasn't afraid of it. And the first day on the job, right, they gave me all these condoms and shit, right? So I go home and my cat at the time knocks over this box of condoms, and my wife goes, what kind of job you got now?
Oh, God.
Oh, God. Oh,
but
boy.
I had a lot of coworkers who came from different countries that were a little uncomfortable with different people of different lifestyles.
Oh,
so
boy.
I would trade clients. They would trade them with me. So I became Mr. Ramos, because I didn't have people call me Apache there, which is another story. But I was Mr. Ramos. I was King of Queens before that show came out. So at that time, my daughter, who when I got off tour, I became Mr. Moms and stuff. So I didn't know what to do with it a lot of times. So I'd stick her in the bubble bath and put Aretha Franklin's greatest hits on. There was like 30 cuts on that shit. And she'd be all wrinkly and everything, But she started singing. And I was, oh, my God.
Oh.
She has a voice. So I was like, okay, I was very protective of her. But my wife at the time, she was full blown getting her daughter in the record business. That was another story. Anyways, turns out when I'm working for Division of Aid Services, my daughter, who had this incredible voice, got accepted to sing, to be a paid performer at the Metropolitan Opera. So we were living in Jersey, so we'd come through Port Authority, walk up 8th Avenue, where all my clients were in the streets hustling, and they'd see me with my daughter, and my daughter would look up to me and go, "Dad, is that a boy or a girl?"
Oh.
And I used to go, "They're whatever they want to be." And so as my daughter got older, going to rehearsals, they would look out for her. In fact, one of my famous clients, Flawless Sabrina, she lived a long time, but she was like, she did a movie and back in the '60s called The Queen. You can look it up. Jack Durshow, may he rest in peace. He loved jazz so much because sometimes I would take jazz with me at home visits, and jazz would sing in different opera languages to my clients. And Jack taught her how to walk in heels. It was so funny. But so that kind of just worked out. You got to draw me in, bro. Ask me a question.
Okay. Anybody want to ask a question?
Oh, I love that name of your daughter, though, Jazz. That's an awesome name.
Well, her name is Jazz Ray, because
okay.
my wife was her name was Lorraine, but they used to call her Ray. Ray Chambly,
okay.
shout out. So Jazz Ray, and my grandson, his name is Hendrix after Jimmy.
Oh wow, I love
his
that.
name is Hendrix Marcus Ray, Rey,
cool.
King in Spanish. And my granddaughter, her name is Santana, named after Carlos Santana.
Oh, I love it. That's so
her name
nice.
is Santana Ruby Ray.
Wow.
Santana's the one who's holding up that plaque, right? Isn't that Santana?
Yeah, I got that plaque.
The one with the plaque, right?
Yeah, I got that plaque in November, which is part of being in the Warriors thing. You know, it's a gift that keeps giving. I don't know how many times that I'm treated different because of the Warriors, you know, and it blows my mind because I've gone like 3 generations. The first generation was like the first fans. Then came out the video game, brought out a whole nother crowd. Like I'm working for the city, Division of Aid Services, and I'm on Lizzie Turf, 14th Street, right? And I look up Union Square and I'm going up the stairs, and all of a sudden I see the Warriors, the Orphans, all these gangs plastered on the wall because they were selling the video game. Do you realize, Francine, right now, somewhere on this planet, somebody's whipping my ass right now?
Right, see?
I got the game. You see, I showed when Tom was on. I got the game right over here. See, it's the Warriors game.
Somebody's whipping my ass right now. And I don't even play video games because I'm old school. I put my money in the jukebox, you know.
In the jukebox.
And that's when my daughter started realizing that this was happening, that this Warrior thing was getting bigger and bigger. And it was about the time when you realize that, I don't know if you got kids, you realize your kid is smarter than you.
Yeah. Mine moved in
that
with me.
moment.
Mine moved in with me again at 40 years old. I don't know who's smarter now.
That's good point, friend.
You know,
and so my daughter became my manager. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
She does a great job. And
I love it.
she would have definitely connected like in 2 seconds. But yeah.
We got to give Paul a shout out. Paul is the guy who makes
posters.
The poster with your picture
he just came on, Paul.
So, yeah, he was saying hello to everybody. Paul is the man. Yeah, baby. Quick shout out for Paul.
I just came back in November from San Antonio, Texas. People so the 3 generations. So, okay, so then you got the video generation. And now their kids are into the Warriors. And it used to piss me off in the beginning. They would say, was I wearing a wig?
Oh, because of the...
Yeah, because I was wearing a wig.
That was the 70s, you know.
And I'm not wearing a wig and I'm not bald. But, and I have to say, that was the 70s. That was the style and stuff. Yeah. So I have a crew when I do shows. You know my guys. David Goody, He's part of my Orphan Life. He made Orphan Nation. And that's the other thing. David Harris, I miss him so much. May he rest in peace. I mean,
I couldn't believe
he always looked out for the orphans, because it's based on the promoters. The promoters, they don't invite the orphans or the other groups unless they think they can make money. And usually they just invite the warriors, which is understandable. But when they do invite, like Wanda Velez or Dee Dee or myself or Joel Weiss from the Rogues, we do very, very well because there's big fans, and it's a whole thing. And I get to meet all these great people. So it's been a wonderful. It's like being a member of the New York Yankees riding the bench. I still get a ring.
Yeah, all you have to do is be in that movie. It doesn't matter if you are a warrior.
Yeah.
It's being part of the movie. And you were part, I mean, you could get some of those extras that are just walking in the beginning with their colors on and sit them at the table at Chiller, and people will take pictures and buy autographs.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, your movie, that movie took priority over when my boyfriend lived with me. He watched that movie over and over, and I say, "Are you gonna go to dinner with me?" No, I'm watching The Warriors. This is my favorite movie, and I would be like, "Okay," and I would go with my friends. So that's
you know what? On that note, I truly believe this, Ramos, Apache, that you were saying earlier about how you weren't getting any jobs. You were trying to do that.
Yeah.
God put you in this movie for that reason, because I truly believe that. God says, I'm going to put him in a movie that's going to become a cult classic, and everybody's going to know who he is. He's going to be more famous than people who have done movies.
Yeah, you just need that one. You need one memorable thing to make your face and your name work, and then you go crazy like that.
And so David Harris, Michael, I got to tell you Michael Beck stories too in a minute. But David Harris and Dorsey, remember I told you they made fun of me in the beginning?
Right.
Now they go, Apache built this whole orphan nation. Michael Beck says, I am the greatest self-promoter he has ever met in his life. Michael Beck, he says he was watching, him and his wife, they live in Tennessee, they were watching a documentary called The Automat.
Oh, I want to talk about that. I love it.
And who's in the Automat? He says, all of a sudden I see Apache in the Automat twice. I'm in there with Mel Brooks, General Colin Powell, and it's amazing. I did not audition for it. I wrote a Throwback Thursday on my first job. My grandmother used to be, may she rest in peace, Sarah Perez. She used to be a...
Horn and Hearted, right?
She used to be a nickel thrower. And the nickel thrower, you would walk into these beautiful, ornate cafeterias, and she would be the woman behind the ornate glass little cage. And this woman here, you get her? She would throw you 20 nickels like magic. Throw you 20 nickels, and you would use those nickels to get your coffee and such delicious food. And so I wrote about that in Throwback Thursday. And who sees it? Lisa Hurwitz, the director and writer of The Automat. So she calls me up and we have an interview. My gift of gab gets me over. I beat out the governor of Pennsylvania.
Oh, jeez.
Because I actually worked at Horn and Hearted. It was my first job. Remember when you got your working papers?
Yeah.
She got me the job as a busboy. And I was the worst busboy ever. Those dishes were terrible. It was the 60s. Downtown started going downhill, and people would sit there for hours and days with mustard juice, ketchup soup, And at first, I would try to get them out. And after that, I would sneak them food.
I love that.
That's why I spent almost 30 years working for HRA homeless population. I guess that's where it started from. Yeah. But the Automat. I'm very proud to be in the Automat. I mean, did you get any of you guys seen it?
No, but I want to see it. Sal sent it to me. I'm going to watch it.
Yeah, it was a different time, and it started in early 1900s, and there was only two cities. Philadelphia used to call it Horn and Harder
Right.
because one guy was from Philly and the other owner, Harder, was from New York, and New Yorkers used to call it the Automat.
Oh,
And
I loved it.
and they used to have their own TV show in theater. Elliot Gould came out of that, and one of the great lines in the Automat is they show old films, and the Automats that used to be in Times Square and Broadway, they
Yep.
used to go, they used to go, hide the silverware. Here comes the actors.
Oh, I used to love it. You put the money in and get your sandwich. The sandwich would go around.
Yeah,
I'm
Pat,
like,
just
how
want
did
to
I
say,
eat that
explain
The
to
food?
our
food was so good.
explain to our listeners what an automat is, because a lot of people don't know. It's where
Oh,
they
I
had all
do.
them little things you opened up and got your sandwiches and different
These
Yeah.
stuff.
no, this was classy. Uh, uh, the spouts, the spouts where your coffee and cream came out of,
Yep.
were based out of the fountains out of Italy.
Hmm.
Okay, it was beautiful ornate glass. It was Art Deco.
Mm.
It was a place that it didn't matter who you were or what your status was. If there was an empty seat, you could sit there. And
Yep.
Oh,
that's the way it was. It was also a place where people of color could go and be treated with respect. It was very
nice.
utopian, very ahead of its time. And the food was delicious. And during World War II, it really fed you got to see you got to see the documentary. Like what's her name? Ruth Bader Ginsburg. She talks about how she used to do her homework there, you know. And General Colin Powell, he said, you know, he was from the South Bronx. He came all the way from the South Bronx. His family would take him to the automat. That was a big deal. He learned what cream spinach was and the baked beans. Oh, and Mel Brooks, he just loved the automat. And when he found out that Lisa was doing this movie about the automat, he says, in fact, Lisa is from Washington State. She's not even from New York. He was like, you're like 11 years old. What do you know about the automat? And then she had done all this research, became fascinated with it. And so he wrote a song for the movie. And in fact, he's one of the main figures after a while. And he brought all the old Jewish comedians, you know, my man Jack Benny with his famous jokes, your money or your life, your
Yeah, your
money or
money
your
or your
life.
life.
I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But he would throw parties there, you know,
Mhm.
like high society parties at the automat, and everybody would get a roll full of nickels to use the machines and stuff like that.
Oh, I
And
loved it.
the coffee was what it was most known for,
Yeah.
you know.
Wow.
But the food was
Wow.
great.
Now also that other the High Tide, what's it called? High Tide, that a film?
High and tight.
High and
I,
Tide.
High and tight was my daughter being a great manager that she is. Somebody approached her with a short story, a short film,
Oh,
and
nice.
she said my dad could do this. And the guy, because I was in the Warriors, the guy like, you know, whoa, Apache Ramos, sure, I would love to get him in the movie.
Yeah.
So we did this movie. I play a barber, and this great actor from the Yiddish theater. Oh my God, I can't think of it. Seth, I can't think of his last name right now. Um, he um, he had a, what can I say? He plays, how do I do this? I don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. Anyways, he had a couple of strokes and stuff. So he was a really good actor, but we had to do some work, right? And he got the best out of me, and I got the best out of him. But I play a barber whose son is going to take over the business from in the hood, and the son gets involved with an older woman. The husband comes home, kills them both,
Oh,
Oh, boy.
and he happens to be a state trooper, and he disappears for like 9 years. Meanwhile, I'm sad as hell because my son is not going to take over. He comes back 9 years later, and he wants to confront me. I don't know who he is. He looks like Aqualung. Remember Jethro Tull?
Mhm.
Aqualung.
yeah. Aqualung. Yeah.
And so
I
he
love
looks
it.
like that, and he hasn't shaved or anything. So right when I'm going to close, he walks in the shop. I don't know who he is, but his wanted poster is on the mirror of the barber shop. So I'm all pissed off that he comes in that late, and I haven't been happy since my son was murdered. And so he wants it high and tight, hence the name of the movie. So I'm cutting his hair. They had to use a stunt double because the hair was so nasty. Guy wouldn't touch it. It was so nasty. And then he had a beard, so I had to shave him too. And as I'm shaving him, his face is appearing as the murderer of my son.
Oh.
And it gets to the point where I have the razor on his throat. And it comes, and he says to me, "Do it." And I'm looking at him, and this motherfucker killed my son. And I put the razor to him, and you got to see it. I won't tell you what happened at the end. But,
is it on YouTube? Is it available to watch?
You know,
on
the
YouTube?
last time I saw it was on Vimeo. It was on Amazon Prime for a long time. And I'm proud to say I won Best Supporting Actor at a Canadian Film Festival.
Oh, wow.
For that part, because I scared the shit out of people. But I was very proud of that part.
I gotta
and
watch.
especially when he got on Amazon Prime. Meanwhile, I'm not auditioning for things. You know, I'm just like bouncing into these things. It's like amazing how this is happening. I just finished a film last summer called Merciless Christmas. It's a slasher Christmas film. So what happens is young filmmakers call me up and say, "Apache, I got this. Would you like to do it?" I'm 71 years old now. Sure, why not? What else am I doing, you know? So I get an opportunity to work with people like Lisa Hurwitz. And I was so proud when the Automat is available on so many different platforms. But I was so proud, mostly proud when we were on TCM. Because TCM is my favorite channel. I can watch that 24 hours.
Yeah, me too.
I'm a TCM guy. So
Me too.
when I saw myself on TCM, because not only am I in the film with these heavyweights, I'm in it twice.
Wow.
So the next time I saw the Warriors, and Michael Beck couldn't believe that I was in it. And I go, yeah. And, you know, because, you know, we all talk and stuff. We're sitting and, you know, waiting around for rides and stuff. And I go, yeah, I just finished a movie with Mel Brooks. And
I just
I'm
sent
dropping
Michael Beck
dimes like manhole covers, man.
just a little while ago.
But I can tell you this about the Warriors. You what?
We're listening. Go ahead.
What'd she say?
No. I was saying that we were talking about Michael Beck, and just a little while ago, Gene's daughter, I sent the picture to Mike, right, Gene?
Yeah.
Daughter has a picture of Mike, so I texted it to him before. So I guess you've seen it by
Michael
now.
Beck. He is one of the nicest human beings I have ever met in my life. My daughter adores him. My daughter booked me, the late great David Harris, and Michael Beck for a film festival in San Antonio, Texas, many years ago. And my daughter was pregnant at the time with Santana, and we went to the Alamo. We're just walking around. It's August in San Antonio. It's hot as hell.
Yeah.
And we stopped into a church, the oldest German Catholic church in the Southwest or something. And he prayed over my daughter's belly. And he's just, and he's got a wicked sense of humor too. All the Warriors do. So, I mean, because there was, you know, these guys went through a lot of hell making that movie. So they were very tight. And for me, as an outsider coming in, they hadn't known me from nowhere. But, you know, the way I talk and stuff, they showed me lots of love. The last time I saw Michael was in November. No, at David's funeral in November. After we did San Antonio, then I saw Michael. And this guy was there, Lin-Manuel Miranda. He was there. It was the first time I met him. He told Wanda's one of the Lizzies, Wanda Velez, can you bring Apache to me? Because I saw him, the Warriors and stuff were sitting over there. I was sitting by myself because I was hurt and me and David used to talk and communicate every day. You know, I could make him pee in his pants all the time. I could make him laugh, like forget about it. And he always looked out for the orphans. He always told the promoters, hey, I can get Apache Ramos for you. So I was really hurting. But when I met Mr. Miranda, he treated me like I I guess I'm the last Puerto Rican left in the thing, but that he's making the Warriors on Broadway, but it's going to be the all women's cast.
Oh.
It's going to be like an all women's cast, which is great because to be part of something that's still inspiring people 46 years later is an incredible thing. I mean, I am so proud to be part of that. And I don't look what people do. They send me stuff like this. These are bootlegs.
Oh,
These
wow.
these are bootlegs. And the other ones are real, but these are even more better because somebody took the time to make them for me. Look at this guy. This is a Pachalito.
Oh, wow.
Sometimes
I
he
like
loses
that.
his
Oh,
head.
that comes off.
But this was done by a guy in the Philippines called B-Boy Black. He even has the Pumas I was wearing. He has my tattoos exactly the way it was.
Amazing.
Wow.
They
And
made
and
they had
David
all the,
David Goody had it made for me. There's only 3 in the world made.
That's memorabilia, boy.
And
Apache,
look
did
at this. Look at this speaker.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's so cool. Orphans, yeah.
Wow.
And David Harris and Michael Beck, they said nobody gave a shit about the orphans until Apache showed up. And now I have my Orphan Nation page, which is almost 3,000 strong. And, it's amazing because my thing when I meet people, I get more out of it than they get from me because I said, what is it about the Warriors that you like about it? And I hear stories like they say, well, my mother and father weren't together, but my father told my mother he's going to take me to see Lady and the Tramp, and he took me to see the Warriors. And Apache, when they blew you up, he laughed so hard. So it's a real honor to meet you. When you hear shit like that, it makes your hair stand up that people care that much. And then when my daughter got married, peep this. The guy she married, her father, his mother is also in a cult film. She's a famous black actress, and I can't think of the name of the film. It's a Russ Meyer film. It's about a female band in the 60s. I can't think of the film right now. It's a shame. But anyways, so we had a lot of fun. So she got me into a movie where they had the greatest cult films of all time. And Michael Beck was chosen, and she got me, and I'm in that film too. But what is the name of her film? Oh my God. Her name is Marsha McBroom. And what is it? It's a Russ Meyer film, and it's a famous film too. But the Warriors means a lot to a lot of people.
Oh,
I've seen. Okay, the weirdest thing I've ever signed. I did a film called. They paid me $500 to do a film called Ungovernable Force, some crazy film, right? And then they painted my face. But I lost my train of thought. I partied so hard in the 70s, and now I'm in my 70s. So I forget a lot of shit,
Oh, no, but I forget.
I spent this afternoon. This is my life. I was writing down all these things. I'm going, damn. And I did all these crazy things then. But yeah, it's funny how that happens. And but now we got a gig I'll be in Massachusetts in the Boston area on March 22nd, the Warriors reunion. We always, it's fun when they start inviting us to these things. And it's hard to believe it's 46 years old. I was like 23 when I did this. I'm 71 now. It's crazy. And this is my greatest role, Grandpa.
Oh,
and when the
You know
Warriors,
why? Because when they're little, you can tell them anything. It's so much fun. I've embarrassed my daughter so many times with old stories. But now she's used to it. But it's funny being a grandpa.
when the Warriors movie first came out on VHS, I bought it the first day it came out because I went to Video Shack. You remember Video Shack in Manhattan, that
Mhm.
big video store.
Big, but
As
it
a
was
matter of
huge.
fact, when I bought the, it was like $90 VHS, $90
Wow.
I paid. And who's
Wow.
standing right next to me buying a whole bunch of movies was Johnny Cash.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was right
Wow.
next to Johnny Cash. He had a long coat on filled with dog hair, and I had them laughing. I had Johnny Cash laughing, and the guy at the store because he had a stack of movies on VHS. In those days, they were like $100 each when it first came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
79.
The
So
Faces of Death was hard to get.
Faces of Death. Oh yeah, when Video Shack first opened. I mean, I bought Saturday Night Fever there for like $100. The Godfather was like $200. But The Warriors was about $90. Now, Johnny Cash is standing right on the next to me. He's got a stack of movies. He's buying them for his son, and he's signing the check. I said, "Aren't you Johnny Cash?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "But you're paying by check."
You told him that?
That's exactly what I did.
That's
I
funny.
him and the guy at the
That's
store.
funny. That's a good
What
one.
do you mean, Johnny Cash pays by check? You better call yourself Johnny Check instead of Cash.
Yeah, that's
Now, let me
funny.
ask you
That
something.
is funny.
I always wondered how many days did it take to do the scene you guys did when they blew up the car and you was going back and forth?
You know, it's funny you say that because I don't remember.
Don't remember?
Really don't remember.
Do you remember?
When I'm with the Warriors, when I'm with the Warriors and we get those question and answer period, I learn a lot of stuff there because to me it was just a gig. You know, I never thought it. You know, who would know that I'd be talking to the mayor of rock and roll in 2025 over the Warriors and meeting Francine, whose boyfriend played it 1,000 times. Gene, you don't say much. I'm worried about you, Gene. You don't say much over there.
I didn't get a chance to
When I
say
first saw you, I thought you were Chung from Cheech and Chung when I first saw you.
Oh yeah,
Actually,
you're right.
Actually, what I'm doing behind the scenes is I'm sharing the show everywhere, making sure people can see it, make sure they can hear it. As you know, I'm the engineer as well as one of the hosts here. But my question is, what was the significant thing you got out of the Warriors? And you're answering all the questions before I can even ask them.
It's amazing how much it's part of pop culture. I remember when Shaq won the NBA title and he screams out, "Can you dig it?" you know, and no matter of all the stuff, I have several platinum records, several gold records. I'm not a musician, but I did pretty well helping promote people. But being part of the Warriors is just like my daughter. My daughter tells me as she got older and she started going out and stuff because she's done several films too. But she goes, I started noticing that the Warriors was very important. I was in Webster Hall. Okay, it became Webster Hall, and she used to be the lady in the front with the list, with the thing, she would do that, and she would say, I would say, my father was in the Warriors. It'd be like, boom, doors open, free drinks, and that kind of stuff, and it's been a blessing, I could have. I think about all the films I tried out for and didn't get. And I went with the attitude of I don't care. I don't give a blip. I just walked in there with my little bottle of rum and my 8x10 and my bio. And Walter Hill winds up sitting next to me.
Yeah, but you went in natural. You went in as yourself. And that's the best actors. That's how you get parts. You go in what you are.
And you at this point you didn't care anymore, so you were
right.
When you don't care, it's just like the bands that want a record deal so bad, but they can't get it. And then you get the bands that I don't want no record deal, and every record company wants to sign.
Yeah.
So it's the same type of thing, But that's why, like I said, I'm not repeating myself. God works in mysterious ways. He put you in that movie because you tried so hard in the beginning.
Yeah.
But it said if we put you in the movie, that's going to be. Everybody in the world's going to know who you are. And even your line is just as popular as the one that Can You Dig It or Warriors. come out and play. Everybody who knows you, they say,
I had
we
like
ain't
4 or
got
5 lines, and everybody wants me to sign. We're gonna rain on you, Warriors. Once in a while, I
rain on
get.
you.
We ain't got one.
We ain't got
But
one.
I'm
That's
stuck.
because you guys are so bad. They're probably afraid of you.
So, are you going to be touring? Are you coming to New York any time with the
I
Warriors?
live in
I would love.
Flushing. I live in Flushing.
So so you live right here. So, but I'm saying, like, are you going
I
to
live in
tour?
Flushing. Look at my view.
I used to live in Flushing. You know where I used to live? Right near the hospital.
See
Blue
the plane?
Memorial.
See the
Yeah.
plane?
Yeah. Oh, you're right there. Oh my, I don't want to
I'm on
meet.
the 12th floor. My daughter found a wonderful place for me to live. She had that talk with me because I was living in, after I got divorced, where, did I lose you?
No,
No,
you're
you're there. It,
you
Oh,
you went
there
you
you go.
went.
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Um, After my divorce and stuff, after 30 years and stuff, my wife went her way, I went my way, and with my pension.
Yeah.
We're still very close because the best way you can honor your daughter is to respect her mother,
Yeah.
and so we still have a good relationship. But when I was living in Florida with close close, I just leave it like that, close people. And when I came back to New York, I was living with my daughter, and she found a place for me. She said, "Dad, there's this place. It's called the Flushing House. It's in Flushing." And I was so excited because in all my life, growing up in the Bronx, I had lived with my family. Then I got that scholarship and I wound up from Alfred E. Smith High School in the South Bronx. I wound up in Andover, Massachusetts. And that's another story in itself. And then living with a bunch of guys, cream of the crop ghetto kids from all over the country, living
Yeah.
on one house on Main Street and Andover, Massachusetts, trying to get along. These kids were smart. I wasn't. I was streetwise. It was a different kind of thing. But they worked really hard with me. I wound up graduating from Andover High School, and I still have some close friends out there. But and I go to this fancy liberal arts school called Hampshire College in Amherst. It was a 5 college co-op program. There was Amherst, UMass, Mount Holyoke, Smith, and Hampshire. So you could take courses in any one of those places.
Mm-hmm.
And Hampshire College, check this out. You want to know why I went there? I applied for Goddard. I applied for a bunch of schools like that. And Hampshire had no grades, no credits. It wasn't accredited yet. It needed to get a graduating class. So I'm the class of 72 because that's the year I entered. You're not the class I graduated in 76, the bicentennial, but you're the class of 72. And so I got to meet some very, very interesting people from very rich backgrounds, and it opened up my world to a whole lot of other things. And I'm very grateful for that experience, which gave me the gift of gab to talk to all kinds of people. And here I am now at 71, living at the Flushing House with this great view. And I got to talk about the Vamp Bikers.
Yes, how'd that go? I remember when you guys
The
did the
Vamp
Vamp
Bikers
Bikers.
trilogy. There's 3 of them. There's 3 of them. And you can see it on Tubi, one of my favorite platforms, Tubi. And the
That's on
Vampire.
Tubi?
I have a great scene with the late, great Angel.
Basil. Oh yeah. Rest in peace.
Oh, my God. That
I
guy and
worked
I
with I
did.
worked with him too on the streets 1 and 2. Yeah.
I love that guy. We did a scene at the Freak Bar, just him and I.
Yeah.
And it was so good. And we did a lot of shows together.
Yeah.
And one of the main reasons why I loved him so much, he was one of the few guys shorter than me.
Yeah. Oh my God. And he's funny as hell too. You ever see his?
Funny
You
as
ever
hell.
see? You ever see him doing stand up? My son went and almost. He said, "Mom, it was the funniest thing I ever saw in my life."
Look, this is one of the promoters, Gary. You know Gary, right? Gary Demars.
Yes.
Okay, Gary, one of my bros, he had Angel and I host veterans from Rhode Island to Fenway Park. I have to spit when I say Fenway or Boston Red Sox because I'm a Yankee fan. But anyways, we took a busload, 2 busloads of veterans Fenway Park, and we were like the guest host and stuff. And it was raining. It was cold. It was miserable. Angel had a broken arm. I didn't have my dentures together yet, and we were looking really bad. So I pretend I'm doing an interview with Angel, and I go, Angel, how you feeling? And Angel goes, I can't believe I wasted a fucking gram on this. That was Angel. That was Angel.
That was him.
You know.
That was him.
He had some partner in the Scarface. My God, he was great in Scarface.
Oh
Yeah,
my
he
God,
was.
we would do a bunch of shows together, and it'd be Warriors versus Scarface, that kind of thing, and and also I lost last year my good friend from Leave the Kid Alone. What's his name?
I
Tony.
know. Perry, he
Tony.
played Perry in The Wanderers.
Yeah, Tony Ganos.
Yeah.
You know, and
Tony, yeah.
Tony and I, we really hit it off. He was
I know.
big man. You know how we met? We were doing a show together, and my man Robert Santana and I were driving in the morning to get something to eat. It's raining, and all we see this huge man with his shopping cart trying to go to the supermarket, which is like 3 miles down the road. And I go, that's Tony Gagnon. So we pulled over. We became good friends after that. We did a bunch of shows together.
Yeah.
And the last thing I said to Tony, I remember we did a gig upstate New York someplace. None of us made any money. We didn't make any. It was terrible. And I said, Tony, I see you the next show. Thank God for Social Security. And he laughed so hard. He laughed so hard. But
I remember
we have a
when you
great
guys
picture with him putting on a Wanderer's jacket on me. He wanted me to be a Wanderer.
Those are like,
Yeah.
The Warriors and the Wanderers, like my two favorite movies of all time, practically.
Yeah, those are good.
The Warriors I've seen 1,000 times, and the Wanderers I've seen 1,000 times.
Me too. Me too.
I remember when the first time I saw the Wanderers was on WHT. You remember that? Wilmette Home Theater. WHT.
Yeah.
Where they had the box on top of your TV set with the speaker.
Yes.
And I saw the Wanderers on there for the first time, and I loved it. And I have the DVD. I have the album soundtrack. Even the Warriors soundtrack is incredible.
How about The Outsiders?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
The
the thing. See, the Warriors and the Wanderers, movies like that, the soundtracks are great. The movies are great. That's what makes a difference. You get people.
Sal, did you go to that Brooklyn Museum opening thing with the whole Kings of Brooklyn? They opened up that whole thing. They have the Warriors. They have Saturday Night Live memorabilia.
Really?
They have all these movies that were made in Brooklyn. They got Barbara Streisand's high school pictures. Imagine her and Neil Diamond were in the same chorus at Erasmus High School.
Oh
Imagine
my gosh.
that. But yeah, the Warriors, the movie has opened so many doors for me in terms of getting to go places and to travel. And so I give nothing but love when I do these things. I do these because, well, one thing, I don't charge a lot of money because I tell people orphan prices, I got my little pension, I got my Social Security, so I don't do it for the money as much. It's nice because I give it to my grandkids, but it's just nice to get that. So I'm always like, because I know sometimes, I don't want to mention names, they say, okay, we're all going to charge this price, blah, blah, blah. And usually the promoters set the price. But when I get the chance to set the price, I'm like, give me an IOU. I'll pick somebody out there. I just like the whole thing of getting people to tell you what they liked about it, how excited they get. I mean, That's real art. That's real art because what they see, I didn't see. What they feel, I didn't feel it, But they see, like my character, I have so many different drawings of my character. And the thing, okay, I'll show you for an example.
You see what you get, Warriors. You see what you get when you mess with the orphans.
People who draw me really dark skinned.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Or they'll make little caricatures of me.
Wow.
And they'll send it to me. I don't know who these people are. This guy, no, we became friends because he came to a show and I always talk about my love of Bustelo Cafe, right? And he came to the show with some, now people come with coffee for me and stuff like that. But see how they see me? They see me so many different ways. You know?
Yeah, that's cool though. I
They
like
see
all
me
the
so many
memories.
different ways, different colors. And what I
Yeah.
hear from a lot of people is that I'm the only one, I'm one of the ones that look really real. And I guess that's where I was from, you know? And people
Yeah.
say, was that a wig? I go, you should have seen my hair in high school. I was like crazy Alice Cooper fan. Santana, you know, I saw Santana in 1969 at Fillmore East. You know, I was in this basement and we were doing things we weren't supposed to do. And the guy Gonzalo says, you want to hear some rock? And I go, no, because in those days, in 68, 69, I'm listening to like Motown and Latin soul music at
Yeah,
that time.
everybody's listening to that stuff and all that.
And
Yeah.
then here comes, so the guy Gonzalo, I still remember his name, and he gives me the album cover, and it's the first album with the lion, with all the Santana one, and it was so different. It really struck me. And then a couple of weeks later, I'm fiending in the village, and I see uh, Santana. There's three groups: Santana, Balling Jack, and the Voices of East Harlem for like $7 or something, $6. And I went and saw Santana for the first time, and I was like, "This is it." So I've seen him like 8 times in my life, and I never forget at the Grammys when my daughter's Backstreet Boys versus Santana, and he won like 8, 9 Grammys that day. I was like, finally, they recognize this guy, you know?
Right,
They recognize him.
Yeah.
You remember?
And
You remember Santana before? Remember Marlo? Remember that?
I
His name?
partied with Marlo.
You did? Oh, not
I,
on. I'm
I
here.
partied backstage with Marlo at Salisbury Beach in
Oh
Massachusetts.
man, I love that when I remember that first video they made, it was like, oh my god, that song just like brought me into. I still play it sometimes when I'm depressed.
That song is for with my high school girlfriend at the time,
Oh
Suavecito.
yeah,
Yep,
Suavecito.
yep. That song is still played. It's a baby
I love
maker.
that
It's a
song.
cradle shaker.
That's like one of my favorite songs ever. I don't know why that song just it brings me into this like crazy like somewhere else world, and I get all like mushy inside. But oh my god, that's my favorite. I can't believe you partied with them.
Guys,
Oh yeah, backstage. Back now, I don't remember Jorge, but I remember the drummers because my brother is a well-known drummer in Latin music, Rolando Ramos, and he's on Spotify. And my brother was with me, and I took him backstage with me, and he was younger then. He was just really developing his chops back then. And I had one of those. I don't know if you remember those gas mask pipes.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I got my brother tore up that day. But yeah, Malo. There were a lot of good bands back then. They were real musicians. You know,
Yeah.
Simon.
They all were very everybody. The background singers, the guitarist, everything that was in a band in those days was just like everybody had a talent. Everybody. I love it.
Guys, we're way past our time. We got
I know.
I thought this was going to be shorter than Thomas's. I thought because
Hey, you know what? The
Thomas
funny thing
impressed
is,
the shit out of me.
we did a longer show than Tom Waits, and you didn't think you'd be able to do it.
Yeah.
I think with a
I forgot to preface
do
my
a
whole.
3-hour show.
I forgot to preface my whole thing by saying a famous Irish saying when they say, "Never let the truth get in the way of a good story."
Yeah, no, that's good. I'm really glad we met you and we spoke to you.
Thank you so
Like
much.
I said,
Thank you, man.
The Warriors was iconic, and I'm very happy to meet you. And when I see the movie now, I'm gonna say I spoke to him.
Not only
Spoke
that,
him
I want you
live.
to see the automat. There will be a quiz.
I want to see the automat because I used to go to the automat, so I definitely want to see that.
Any place you're going to be? Any place you're going to be like at a Comic-Con or anything like that in the
Well,
future?
the one I just canceled when I didn't want to go. It's funny. I went to school in Massachusetts. So I know cold weather, and I used to hang out in the streets in a leather jacket, a cigarette with Converse sneakers, and never got cold. Now I'm 71. I'm a big punk ass when it comes to the cold. If I don't have to go out, I don't go out. You know. But March 22nd, we're having a Warriors reunion at the in Massachusetts. Yeah, so you can follow
Okay.
on orphan page or any Warriors page because it's a Warriors reunion.
So you're on Instagram? Are you on
I'm
Facebook?
on Instagram, but I never go on Instagram. I do everything on Facebook because that's enough for me. But I think everything I do goes to Instagram because I'm a dumbass boomer and I got what do you got? I got hacked like 2 years ago. I thought I was helping somebody, and the next thing I know, I got a whole bunch of friends texting me, calling me, Apache, you all right? You need money? And I'm like, what's wrong? And apparently the guy hacked me and was asking my friends on my friends list that I was in trouble and they needed money. And they knew by the way a woman was expressing themselves that it wasn't me. But it took me about 2 months for people to stop, doing that kind of stuff. But I am on Instagram. I think it's the real Apache Ramos. But you can see me on Facebook. I'm always on Facebook because if I don't, because I have heart problems, they call my daughter and they worry and stuff. So I always put something down, especially for Orphan Nation. So
Well,
please see the automat and it will be a quiz.
yes, and thank you again for being on the show. We really appreciate it, and it was a very big honor.
Thank you.
Love you, brother Patch. I love you, brother. You're the best, man. I hope to see you soon.
Hold on.
Maybe you guys will be at Chiller because they already have.
Francine, from now and forevermore, you are an honorary orphanette.
Hey.
And Gene, you're an honorary orphan, which means you're not going to get invited to a lot of shit. All right.
Hey, I've been an only child my whole life, so I'm good with that.
Okay. And I'm surprised you didn't ask me to say this, but here we go. We're gonna rain on you, Warriors. Good night.
We got one.
Thank you, my friend.
Wait,
let me light up the bottle.
Peace out, guys.
Peace
All
out.
right,
Thanks, guys. Thanks for everything. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
No.